Okay guys, so I just fired up the Fat Bob. We're just going to go for a little ride around the block, and the reason is today I'm changing the oil. I'm only going to change the engine oil on this video, but later on I shall be doing the gearbox and the primary. There's a bit of water dripping out of the exhaust with the condensation. It's actually quite cold today. It's meant to have been nice. A bit breezy if you look at that tree. But never mind. Let's go and take the Fat Bob for a little spin then. Get it nice and warm. Right then guys, so just been for a nice little spin, went up the dual carriageway a bit, get this nice and warm so we can drop the oil. I've actually just been on a run to see how I get on with this tune we just done on the bike. I connected up a Vance & Hines tuner and put in the canned tune for these slip-on exhausts. I weren't sure whether that had been done or not, but in my opinion the bike is more responsive and it pulls a lot harder, so I'm happy with it. And the reason I've got that is because later on I might be changing some things on the bike, like the exhaust, maybe the air filter reading, but that'll be next year maybe. But today's video is just purely bike warmed up, but it's better for dropping the oil. Well, I'm nearly back to mine. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is whack a kettle on, make myself a cup of tea. And then we'll crack on with this oil change. Right then, so we just put the Fat Bob back into the garage. Got myself like a big drip tray, what I use for the car. And I've got this container here. Should be enough for the oil. I might just get another one just in case there's not enough. Right then, so I've got two containers now. I'm sure that's going to be big enough for that. Let's just move this stuff out of the way. This is the oil I've got, by the way. I bought it from guys just down the road here who work on Harleys all the time, and this is the oil they use. There's 1 litre in here, so I've got 4 bottles of this, so it should just be enough. There's 1 litre in here, so I've got 4 bottles of this, so it should just be enough. There's 1 litre in here, so I've got 4 bottles of this, so it should just be enough. Okay guys, before I go any further, I'll just say I've got 4 bottles of this oil, which is basically 4 litres, but for this particular bike it's going to need 4.5. I think the reason is because the oil killed cylinder heads. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely needs more than 4 bottles, which is annoying really, because a lot of the oils you see for sale either come in these 1 litre bottles, or I've had a look online, they come oil and filter, 4 litres of oil and a filter. Well, for this particular bike that's not enough, so you're going to have to buy another litre of oil. So I don't know why they just don't do a 5 litre again like they used to do. Never mind, like I say, just had to purchase another litre of oil. Not going to use it all, obviously, it's going to use half of it. I'll have some later for top up, but it's just annoying that I had to go out again and get more oil. I'm going to check in the manual in a minute, just in case it does say get 5 litres or 4.5 litres instead of 4. Like I say, over the years, as far as I'm aware, you always needed 4 bottles for an oil change on the engine, but in this particular case you're going to need 5. Word of warning to you, eh? You're going to need 5 litres. But the first thing we need to do is get the oil out of this one. Some people say that you'll need an engine, you'd need a bike jack so you can get it nice and level. I think that'll be alright there, because if you look, the drain plug is actually on that side where it's tilted down, so it's going to be the lowest point. That's my excuse. Right, we'll whip that out. I was going to do it outside. I decided to move Craig's bike forward, his Suzuki Bandit. He's a good boy, isn't he? So that I can get in the garage. Because it's windy, I've done this before in my car. I've took the sump plug out, and with the wind blowing, it's blew the oil all up everywhere, and on here I didn't want it to blow all on the tyres. Right, now this, to drain the actual engine oil, is the sump plug at the back. There's another one here, which we'll be doing another day. That's for your transmission, your gearbox, which is here. And there's one under the other side, which I'll show you when the time comes. So you can't make a mistake. The one you need is the one on the rear of the sump. So let's pull that out. That should come out any minute. It's been really quite hot. Here it comes. I'm having a quick look on the sump plug just to check there's no filings on there. You might get a couple of small ones, but there's nothing on there to worry about. I'll give that a clean up in a minute. Just let that oil drain there. Looks nice and clean actually, but hey, there you go. You still want to get it done. Right then, so while that's draining, I'm going to drink my tea. Also, I forgot to mention, this is your oil fill for your engine. It's best to pull that to let the air pull in, to let the oil drain out better. Whoa, that's going to fill that, look. Oh, man. Right, I'm going to see if I can change these over now. Well, I managed to change them over. Good job I got this big spill tray underneath, otherwise I'd have made a right mess. Well, I managed to change them over. Good job I got this big spill tray underneath, otherwise I'd have made a right mess. So bear that in mind, guys. Make sure you got the right size container underneath to drain your oil. Lovely mess. I love messing with oil. Right, we'll let that to continue to drain. Still quite warm. Right, I'm giving this a little bit of a wipe down, make sure it's all nice and clean. And while I'm here, if you look at the bottom of that plug, it's got a seal, an O-ring. some people say you need to change out every time. I've got some O-rings in the boot of the car, but there's just no damage on it. I'm not going to bother because I'm not sure if I got exactly the right size, so I'll leave well alone. It looked like they had some kind of thread sealer on there as well, but I ain't going to bother with that. I will obviously check that it's not leaking from time to time, but that looks fine. Right, let's get that tea. While I strain them, I'm definitely going to finish this tea because I made this earlier and it's in a keep warm cup, but that is literally now only warm because the next job I need to tackle is get the oil filter off. I should have an oil filter remover here somewhere. Could be in the bottom there, could be in there, or could be in that bottom drawer. But I'll have a route around and see if I can find it. Said I need to remove this oil filter now, which is here. Get some light on it so you can see it. Another little problem with these is you do get a bit of spillage out of them, and various people do different things with bits of cardboard and God knows what. Yeah, by the looks of what I do, I like making a mess, but I don't particularly want to make a mess there, so let's see if I can concoct something to stop that happening. I don't mind a little bit of spillage, but that's going to get everywhere, isn't it? By the way, here's my oil filter remover. I found it, so that should be good. Should fit it. Yeah, that'll be alright. If you haven't got one of them, unless you can turn it with your hand, there's not much you can get in there, so I suggest you get hold of one. I think I had this when I had my Sportster. That'll do the job. Right, I'm just going to see if I can find something to put in there. Have a little think what I can use. Right, continue to go for it. Whoa, put that in that, move that in there. Wow, should have really put gloves on. I always forget. Judging by down on the floor there where it's dripping, there's still oil messed up anyway, so it's going to need a wash. There's just no other way, is there? Maybe if you didn't have the oil cooler there, that'd be some help, but never mind. Let's get that wiped up. That a nice clean up under there. That's nice and clean now. Like I say, I'm probably going to have to wash it off a bit when I'm done, but no worries. Right, here's the new filter, just got it out of the box. I'm going to put a bit of oil inside, because when it initially starts up, it'll already have oil gone through the filter. And also, I'll put a smudging of oil around that O-ring, so, or the seal. So when you tighten it up, it'll slide on there. And when I put this on, it will just be reversed to taking it off. But I'm not going to crank it up with a spanner. I'll put it on just till this seal touches that on the back, and then turn it another half a turn. And when I fill up with oil and we run it, if there's any leaks, I'll give it another quarter turn, but that should be enough. You don't want to go cranking it up with the spanner. One, you'll never get it off again, and two, you'll probably ring it over and cause yourself a leak. So right, I'll pop that on now. Probably got oil on my camera. Right then, let's see if we can do this without too much of a spillage. Can't see it myself, but oh well, that's gone straight on. Right, it's now hit the flange at the back. Half a turn. And that should be enough for that. Like I say, you don't want to go and over tighten it. You see that's in there, look. Yeah, it recommends in the book don't over tighten it, and I've done oil filters before and I've always only done them up hand tight. That's all you need, and I've never had one come off after you put a new one on yet. Right, next job is to look up what the torque setting is for the drain plug. I'll pop that back in and torque that up, and then we can put the oil in. Easy peasy. Slid me catch tray from underneath the bike and you can see the mess. So I don't see the point in, I could edit all this out and just show you a nice clean job, but I don't see the point in hiding anything. Learn by your mistakes. Maybe you won't make the same. Get yourself an adequate catch tray. Anyway, I'm going to have a clean up here, and then I'll find out that torque setting from the torque wrench, and we'll get that torqued up and get some oil in. Right then, look guys, all cleared up like magic. I can show you it weren't magic. It took me a few minutes to do that, but they're nice and clean, and like I said before, if you're going to do this, make sure you got a better size container. Right, got out my torque wrench. I've got a couple of torque wrenches, but this is my smaller one. According to the book, it says 16 to 21 foot-pounds. So I've set this to 18, and we'll just nip up that drain bolt. Pop the socket on. There it is. I'll put it in by hand. There we go then, 18 foot-pounds, job done. Right, let's fill it up. See better under my light. Where it says add quarter on that bottom piece, on a cold fill, that should be roughly in the middle of that. Obviously no lower than the bottom of that, and no higher than the top of that. It'll be close to the top when the bike is hot, but when it's cold that should be roughly in the middle, and that is exactly where it was on this bike before we even started this. So, and it's been there since I've had it, so I know I've got no problem with the oil leaking through to the primary. Well, I shouldn't have anyway, but we'll find that out when we drain the primary, and I'll see how much oil it's got in it, but that'll be another video. Let's get the oil into this bike. There we go, for some of you guys who like to see the oil actually going in the bike. Well then, so I checked the oil cold. It was about the middle of the stick, like where it's always been. I'm just going to let it run 5 minutes. Just checking round that there's no oil leaks from underneath where the sump plug is, or where the oil filter is connected. And I'll give it a clean off, because there's some oil actually on the frame there what you saw got spilt. Right, I'll I'll check the oil again now. Honestly, not going to go too far. Just have a little cruise around the block, then I'll just recheck the oil once it's warmed up, and that should be it for the oil change. I was going to say perhaps you learned something, then I thought maybe you haven't, and then thought again, you probably have. You learned what not to do. Only a bit of fun, eh? I still not warmed up a great lot, I'll tell you that. So I'll pull in along here. Fairly flat ground. Have a check round there's no leaks. And I don't know if you can notice that it's turning over slower now. Like I say, I quite like that. Right then, so what are we doing? We're having a look to see if we've got any leaks. Can't see any round from the oil filter or the housing, which is all good. I did have a spot earlier, but I think that's where I spilt it, taking the filter off. I can't see anything now, so that's good. Let's just see if I can see underneath the bike where the drain plug is. That's all good. No leaks there. So that's sorted. Right then guys, so that's the oil change now. That was quite simple, wasn't it? Right, I'm almost home again now. So leave me to say, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos about on Ace of Fat Bob and any more maintenance we might be doing. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.